Hello to the sun and back. My name is Tokika Uzuru, and we are currently on my bed because I decided I was going to do these videos in a more comfortable spot where I'm actually sitting down. It's also like way easier for me to deal with because there's less to move around. But I feel like my videos are about to get even more personal, so I decided that at least being in a very comfortable spot would absolutely help with that. But today's video is specifically going to be about things to do before you decide to manifest. I've already done a setting and achieving your goals video, which if you want to go ahead and see that one, it's right in the cards over there. But there's a lot of things in that video that I didn't talk about because you don't usually hear people talking about it. Now, when it comes to manifestations or manifesting the things that you want in life, one, always make sure you have a list of the things so you can go ahead and refer back to them. But two, there are specific things that have to be set in place in order for you to be able to visibly see those manifestations entering into your life. I did my Japanese practice earlier this morning, like while I was doing vocal warm-ups, and like I'm trying to remember how to actually speak English. Practice is good, but again, speaking English was never my forte. So I thought that today's video is going to be best because you hear a lot of people saying, oh, the universe needs to know that you're doing the work. Or the universe needs to see that you're actually doing the work to get towards your manifestation. And as much as even I thought that the work is just like creating the pathways by like, if you want to try to manifest love, signing yourself up for dating apps, if you want to go ahead and manifest financial abundance, or being more financially stable, putting your resume out there. The problem here is for those that are like me, who haven't really dealt with a lot when it comes to the adult world, or those who identify themselves as performers, storytellers, overall creatives. There's not really much that's in our power, at least as the physical realm is concerned, that we can go ahead and do. You know, outside of create as we do. So this is just going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I ended up having to learn the hard way because, of course, I have a tendency to be very stubborn. But I also thought, might as well go ahead and make this into a video if I'm having to learn this lesson right now. Moving on. First thing to do before you decide to manifest things is actually tune into the universe's rhythm and try to tell the difference between the anxiety you have to deal with and your gut instinct. That was the first thing I had to learn. The second thing would be to document the entire process. The third thing is to not lose who you are in trying to achieve your goal. If you haven't figured out exactly who you are just yet, then that first, and then don't lose that. That will eventually evolve into you having a better understanding of who you are, and then just don't lose that. And number 4 is learning to keep things balanced and or in moderation. Now typically when you hear people talk about energies, they talk about masculine energy and a feminine energy, and how divine masculine energy and a divine feminine energy, you have to use both of them. There has to be some sort of duality when it comes to your energies. Having a better understanding of that is very difficult when they go ahead and use gendered language and you're non-binary. So let's go ahead and just take gender out of the entire equation and use different words. Specifically, active and passive. Active energy is basically you doing things out in the physical realm, physical world. So that would be creating your art or making a list of your goals, writing down a list of your goals, or even just consuming art in general. And passive would be dealing with the inner work that you have to do. So that would be learning and unlearning habits, or finding the root reason as to why you have a specific habit and how to break that habit. You learn, you apply what you learned to your life, and then you grow / evolve into a different person. And then you reflect on how all of that has happened. And that reflection will show you exactly where you need to go next. Now, during the active sections, you could do things like, again, create the art that you want to do or create. So that would be, for me personally, that would either be filming my YouTube videos or writing songs, because I'm going to be getting back into doing that as well, or writing more poetry, doing more like karaoke covers, specifically on Instagram, actively creating stuff that honestly fulfills me as a whole. You have to figure out exactly what that active energy is for you, which is again another reason as to why you have to go ahead and tap into the universe's rhythm. Life is literally just a series of cycles. And then passive, again, an example for me is right before I decided to film this video, as of today, I was writing a list, not necessarily a list, but like a letter to my old self, where I am basically waving goodbye to my old mindset. That's the gist of it. And you could do something similar to that. Or again, you could go ahead and work on unlearning a mindset that doesn't necessarily help you to get to where you want to be, or learning more about you and taking care of you, whether that would be resting, self-care, self-love, whatever that means to you. This could also be reflection, or a time to pause, taking in as much art. Is that one? A time to recharge in general. This would be the rest, reflect, and release part of the cycle. And once you've gotten through all that, you can go ahead and see what else you have to work on. And overall, just taking care of you. And the last thing before you manifest is to learn a form of divination, and or learn about synchronicities, angel numbers, and what animal would equal to what symbol. What animals symbolically tells you some sort of message. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. And King George runs a spending spree. It always goes back to Hamilton. Essentially, you're going to also have to learn the language that the universe speaks to you in. So whether that means numbers that specifically you keep on seeing, like repeatedly, or whether that would mean the angel numbers like 1111, 111, 222. Because we humans love giving meaning to things, there's a meaning to pretty much any number that you can think of / find in your everyday life. You just got to search that up. And on a similar note, repeating animals, examples for me, deer, rabbits, and butterflies, feathers. Part of me is kind of glad that I have this, but feathers. I have an entire jar of feathers, by the way, that I keep when I go ahead and find them. It's just this feather specifically could not fit in that jar because the jar is small. So I keep this feather just right beside my bed to remind me this is a hecking huge feather and I found it. But yeah, pretty much any type of repeating out of the norm things that you end up finding throughout your going through life as you are manifesting. Have like a list of those things that you typically see often, or like those moments where it's like, yeah, that was a bit weird. You don't usually see stuff like that. Like just yesterday, again, as of recording this video, I ended up seeing a hawk. Now, because of the fact that I am more mesmerized by a literal predatory bird, that reminds me of a hecking anime character that I want to go ahead and just yeet. I will be, now that I think about it, I will be searching up the metaphysical meaning of randomly seeing a hawk somewhere. But yeah, figuring out the symbols, angel numbers, and meanings of the random things that you end up seeing while you're going through and trying to do the inner work will allow you to have a better understanding as to whether you're on the right track or there's other stuff that you need to look further into or handle before you can move on to the next step. And divination is also another way of how you can go ahead and do that. Specifically, I do tarot card divination, also known as cartomancy, because I could just do it anywhere. But there are other ways to do divination that don't require you to buy things. So now that I've talked about all that I needed to talk about in this video, and now that we are at the end of everything that I need to talk about in this video, we can continue the video by doing the stereotypical YouTuber outro, where I, as a stereotypical YouTuber, would ask you to do the following. I'm still talking way too fast. I need to better pronounce words. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified of whenever I post, and comment down below any type of questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for future videos. Because I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know a lot, but like, I'm still learning. Does that make sense? Heck and hope it does. Let's move on. And I will most definitely end up seeing you in the next video of whatever I make. We're taking another YouTuber's outro now. But until then, this has been Toki Uzuru, aka Toki, and this is Toki saying Toki out.